All right, all right. Welcome, y'all, to another episode of Mornings with Movers. We out here crushing it. I hope you guys are having a good summer as well. Um, I'm Dwyght Mack with Mack's Moving Training, and let me turn my YouTube off because it's the worst when you start streaming. What's going on, Ryan? How's everything going with you?
Good, man. It's another Thursday, one more step closer to the weekend. So we're getting a little excited here. A lot of rain
Oh,
coming in today from the hurricane down south, but we're ready to get after it today.
yeah, they need to keep that down there. Like when when I was down in Florida, I was like, nah, no, they need to keep that winter weather up in New York here.
So they got to keep that rain down in Florida.
So, but yeah, no, everything's been great on my end. Obviously I was just talking to you about the new marketing program. I'm excited that's going to be coming out soon for all of you amazing moving owners, called Moving Marketing Blueprint. So over the next couple of weeks, I'll be dropping a little bit more information about it going forward, so that basically you guys can see what it's going to be about, but ultimately it's going to be all things marketing. Obviously I've been hearing so much about moving owners struggling this year when it comes to regards to marketing, don't know what channels to go with, don't know how to really use the marketing, let alone just taking people's word. Oh yeah, go with this lead provider, or go with this marketing type. And at the end of the day, it may work for someone, but it may not work for you. So understanding what your marketing channels are, how they are made available to you, where to search for your marketing, how to manage your marketing, because again, so many people will use a source, and I'm not going to name a source because we on live, but they'll use a lead provider, let's just say that, and they'll use it for 1 month, spend maybe a couple of $100. Oh, those guys were trash, I'm never using them again. And it's just like, did you really give them a fair chance? It was the first month out. Obviously you're both building a relationship with each other. So the first month is like the trial run. The second month is like, okay, hey, you know what? They know about us. We know about them. We've made sure that our filters were correct or whatever the case is. Let's see how it goes. And then, the third month is that real accurate reading where it's like, okay, hey, we've been trying them for about 90 days now. Okay, let's see where the average median falls. Are we getting a good amount of leads? Are we closing those good amount of leads? We've used them for 90 days. Now, 90 days is the appropriate amount of time that you should be using a lead source. So whenever you're taking on a new marketing opportunity, make sure you have enough in your budget to give them the 90-day window. Otherwise, there's no point. Uh, I don't know if I'm missing anything there, Ryan. You let me know.
This is probably a subject that's by no means by far the furthest away from an expert in. Again, the company I came from, we were very, very fortunate. We were around for over 115 plus years. We did not really market at all. We did not buy
Show
leads.
off.
No, I mean, it was just, hey, it was one of them things, right? Like, so, like, and I know there's a lot of people out there, a lot of salespeople. They're like, oh, I'm a marketer, I'm this, I'm that. And as someone that is heavy and deep in the sales as I was, I'll be the first one to raise that flag and say, no, I am not a marketing guy by any means. Everybody kind of claims to be and wants to be and what have you. It can be difficult. I know from on the personal side of business that I have, like trying to market it to the folks, right? Trying to figure out which channel to use, and between Facebook, Instagram, and all these other things that are out there. Like to me, it gets overwhelming. So I'm actually pretty pumped up to see what you're going to be rolling out here, and see if there's any nuggets I can take away for myself personally here.
Oh,
Um,
well, it's
yeah,
going to be good.
you gotta have patience. You can't sign up, and this is with anything. I mean, you're not going to sign up with anybody, and that switch is not going to get flicked, and all of a sudden you're just you're pumping business like crazy. I do like what you said. It does take time. Give it time. Make sure you have enough money in the spend or in the budget, as you say, that you can kind of trial this thing out for the 60, 90, even 120 days.
Yeah,
So
and hey, at the end of the day, you guys' jobs are to be moving owners. I ain't gonna say movers because I gotta make sure we got the right titles. So moving owners. So with that being said, you shouldn't be focused on every little modality of your business. Yes, you want to make sure you have your hands in on it so that you know that obviously it's in place. But to focus on, oh, well, hey, I want to be my own SEO person because I don't want to pay this price to get a real representative to give me SEO, or I want to be my own social media marketer. Well, while you're doing all of that, who's handling your sales? Who's handling the details behind your sales, like making sure that the phones are working properly and the follow-ups are diligent. Oh, well, damn, you focused on that too. Well, who's focused on making sure your operations is running? Your movers are out there on the trucks in the morning. They're here on time. They're not calling out. So much to focus on, so many moving parts that you got to get to that point of being able to delegate.
yeah. No, I found is, and I had a great chat with, I'm sure I can say it, Michelle Cordero from JK Moving. She handles all their social media. She's a marketing genius in my mind. And obviously, if you see the things that JK Moving is doing online and all over the place, it's great stuff. And one thing I did take away from her was, when you're starting, is keep it simple. Pick one platform. And picking that the particular platform is critical, right? Of what you're going to use. So, for example, like Facebook, pick one platform. So for me, it's what she recommended for me to do is, pick the one and stay consistent. Keep it simple, keep it basic, and continue to stay out there, continue to stay relevant. But don't put these long, massive posts out there. Don't do 3, 4, 5 minute videos. Nobody has the attention span to do that or to read that stuff anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Little shorts, 10, 15 second videos, or just really cool shot with a quick tagline or something like that, and just stay consistent and watch it grow. And it's working for me at this point. But I mean, obviously, the marketing is so deep, but also can be very
Mm-hmm.
simple on some levels as well, right? I think a lot of times people try to you know do too much, or they get into it with both feet, and then after 2, 3 weeks of doing so, they just fall back, right? So to me, it's something you just constantly have to have a little bit of foot on the gas. Um, Keeping it tight and keeping it relevant, right? And obviously picking, start off with one platform. I would say
Mm-hmm.
one thing I learned, and you'd think I would know this working for a tech company. I didn't realize you can go on and pre-post for as long as you want, right? So every day for my business, I was constantly going every morning, going on Facebook, doing my this, going on LinkedIn, doing this and that. And I'm like, it just wears me out. It was just one more thing I had to add into my routine that day. Then I realized, oh crap, I can actually on Sunday when, after a round of golf or I'm bored out of my mind, I can go on and I can post for the week and just schedule my posts. Like to me, that was like an eye-opening thing. I can spend an hour and a half, 2 hours on a Sunday to alleviate 5, 6 hours during the week. Um, and it's working. But like I said, I'm excited to hear what you're rolling out and see. Because I'm definitely excited I need to brush up my marketing skills because I don't have any.
No, you're right. And having a scheduler, which is what you were referring to, is definitely crucial. I when I recently got this company going, I was using the scheduler as well, where, hey, you know what? Post to my Facebook community, my Facebook page, my LinkedIn, you name it, whatever social channel I had, it was like, hey, I can post to all these places with just make it with just one post at the same time or different times if I want to, mix it up. And it was seamless. And I had my marketing team working on the back end saying, hey, you know what? Let's schedule posts. We had 2 months of posts ready to go. And it
Yeah.
was just like, hey, we could just sit back. I could focus on what I need to focus on now and kind of go from there versus like you mentioned, oh, the inconvenience of every morning. What do I want to say today? This is exhausting. And it is.
It is like I run out like what do you say? Like how do you continue? But the one thing that really ekes me about this subject, sort of say, is, and I see it all the time. You hop on Facebook, you hop on LinkedIn, you'll see a post from one organization, and I'm like, wow, this is awesome. Like you captured my attention, like, this is it. The next day, 15, 20 other companies basically hijacked the same photo or redid the same video, copying another company's piece. And like that just it's like, why can't you come up with your own content? Like, I don't know. I know it's easier said than done, but there's a lot of copycats going on right now, and it's just, I guess, flattery, so to say, but very interesting. I just say do your own thing.
Yeah,
Completely.
and they made it 10 times easier now with Facebook AI. Facebook AI, if you actually mess with it, is very similar to Chat GPT, but very it's not as expensive because, if you want to have the Chat GPT create you art designs, you got to pay
Mhm.
X amount of dollars per month. Whereas Facebook is doing it for you for free at this point. And you just tell Facebook as you start to type in what you want Facebook to create as an image, it starts to pre-create the image for you. So that's pretty sweet. But the only thing very similar to ChatGPT is that they haven't got the grammar correct on the images yet. Um,
I
but
haven't
they
used it
can,
yet. I might have to mess with that this weekend, see what I can come up with.
yeah, and it creates posts for you as well. Hey, Meta AI, create me a post, um, dropping value for moving company owners, and it'll create a post. The grammar is actually pretty good, and you could just basically copy and paste, schedule it to go out on a day that you want it to go out. Now, the only thing I haven't found yet is how to track all of the posts that I have scheduled to go out on Facebook. But other than that, like you can schedule a hey, tomorrow at 9 a.m., make sure this post goes out to all my viewers or wherever your your group or your Facebook page, however you're doing it.
I think that's pretty neat. But have you, like, I don't know if you're seeing this, and I'm sure you are, but everywhere I go now, obviously with AI and ChatGPT and all this stuff that's out there, like I feel like everybody's marketing strategy, not everybody, I don't want to paint it with a broad brush, but a majority, at least to me, everybody seems the same, smells the same, looks the same. I think everybody's, leveraging which I think everybody should leverage ChatGPT and AI in their daily operations, regardless of what industry you're in. But like, make some changes. Use it as a guide to get you rolling. But my whole thing with the copy and paste, like, sure, you can do that, but that's what everybody else is doing. I look at all these posts now that I see, and it's the crazy emojis, kind of the funny wording, and just you can tell. Like, at least for me, I can tell when somebody wrote something versus when somebody chat GPT something and leverage the AI. So almost feel like we're potentially getting a little too tacky just using the AI piece and not putting, our own twist and spin behind it because everybody's doing it at this point and everybody's starting to sound the same. Now, when ChatGPT first rolled out and people adopted that, my gosh, like you saw, what Ryan did on his own marketing side of the house, and then you saw what Dwyght did leveraging ChatGPT, and it was light years. Everyone's like, wow, look what Dwight's doing out there. That's woohoo. And then once Ryan caught on, hey, I can go ahead and type, hit enter, copy and paste, and I can sound like Dwyght. And then you got this company, who I want to sound like Ryan because Ryan sound like Dwyght. And then just the train keeps on building up down those tracks. So I definitely say tweak it. I mean, leverage that is a great guide, but at least for me personally, I would not be copy and pasted because I feel like that's what everybody's doing, man. Just
Well, yeah, you're right. Definitely read it, and definitely, obviously you're not. I'm not going to say the dumbest. I got to make sure I try to use these words right. But read it and like Ryan said, put your extra spin to it because you know what you know. So at the end of the day, if you're reading it and you're like, well, hey, create me a post based on uh why are trees green? You know, and at the end of the day, it tells you this whole long story about the origin of why the trees turn green. Obviously nobody's gonna want to read all of that first
no,
off.
no.
So now you got to kind of like, okay, hey, how can we get this down to like 500 characters or less? And let me add my little spin to it to make it kind of a little funny. Now people are like, oh, trees are green because of this. Oh, okay. That's pretty funny or whatever the case is. But now that because it was funny, they're gonna remember it. It's gonna resonate.
Yeah, no, when I do my social posts, I try to make them funny. I try to make them extremely relevant. I try to attach it to something that's semi-trendy um, at the moment, and honestly, I also try to put my own spin on it too. Like I said, I know what I know. I know what our business does. I know what our business does really well in, and that's what I try to capitalize on when I when I hit the old airways. But again, I got to do a lot better job when it comes to the marketing side of the house. I'll tell you that. I mean, I know I personally work with an incredible marketer for the company I work with, and watching her do her thing behind the scenes, man, just blows my mind away. But I
Hmm.
think some people have it, and then there's some people like me that just I'm not that I'm creative, but nowhere near the creative genius as some of the people I work with. So I'm super blessed to have a marketing department that just crushes it day in, day out, and they come up with incredible, amazing, wild ideas that we all execute on. Um, so again, I'm very spoiled and blessed. So this is a
Hmm.
topic that I definitely need to brush up some skills on. And again, I just feel like everybody thinks they're a marketer, right? Everyone's, oh, I'm a marketing genius. Well, until you meet one, you can say you're one. But once you get into the doghouse with with some real marketing genius folks, like then you realize, wow, I'm just like I'm in preschool at this point.
Yeah, and
So
you gotta understand what type of post you are posting, and that's huge, especially if you're doing like social media type postings or whatever the case is. And even if you're doing Google ads and any other type of posting, every posting is unique and there's a certain purpose behind it. Most people are like, well, I'm just trying to sell my business. I'm just trying to get leads or whatever the case is. And there's different ways of trying to go about it, and obviously this is just one of those podcasts. You just drop value. So, nevertheless, it's one of those things where understand what type of post you're posting. So, there's posts like education. So, are you posting educational posts where you're just trying to get people engaged, get them some knowledge, get them some gems, leave a call to action? Are there convert posts? Convert meaning that hey, you're looking to convert that customer to that potential client into a customer. Then you got what other type of posts are there? Oh, motivational post. And there's so many different class of different posts, and it has its own different outcome that you're looking for, even though every post should have a call to action. That's without a shadow of a doubt. But understanding your different types of posts and understanding how you want it to flow and how you want it scheduled. When I worked with my marketing team, it was like, hey, you know what? We're gonna do convert posts maybe once a week, because we don't always want to be salesy. But we'll maybe do an educational post twice a week because we want to drop gems and let people know that, hey, you know what, this is what you could be doing better.
no,
And once you figure out again your types of posts, Saturdays, nobody really want to be learning on the Saturdays. Next day, So on a Saturday, maybe you drop a motivational post, and it could be just an inspirational quote, and you just realize your marketing. But again, you have too much to focus on. But if you do know what type of post you want to go out, have your marketing team, set up a schedule with your marketing team. Hey, I need these type of posts going out so that basically I know that I'm delivering in this area. And again, they should be approving a post by you, and you just let it go, you let it flow.
yeah. What's your thought? Like, obviously, engagement on these posts, and I picked something up. I don't know, it's probably a month or so ago, and you probably see this on Facebook or whatever. But like Wendy's, McDonald's, Subway, right? These
Hmm.
guys, millions of followers, millions of likes on their page. Yet when they post something, they might get one comment, one share, 10 likes, right? Millions
Hmm.
of followers, one comment, one share, handful of likes. I look at, my customer base and who I market to with my sub shop. I've only got 3,900 followers, right? But if I make a post, I've got 400 or 500 likes, comments, loves, this, that. Not comment, take that out. I have between the likes, the loves, the hearts, all that stuff you can do, hundreds of those, and at least like 80 to 90 comments, and anywhere from 10 to 50 shares out of that single post. So to me, it's like, what's more important, having all these followers or having that like critical engagement on each post that you make? So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, because you could be spending all the time to put out some really what you think is really cool content, but
Hmm.
any engagement out of that, or is it really good content or not? So I guess, would you rather have millions of followers, or would you rather have hundreds and hundreds of engagement? And again,
So
I'm not a marketing genius or a marketing guy by any means, but these are some of the things I picked up along the way, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
so that's a good point. And there are things considered to be engagement posts. Now, just to elaborate, I was working with a marketing team who wanted to get me tons and tons of followers, but they weren't my audience.
Yeah.
but they wanted to say, well, hey, if you got all of these followers, it builds trust and authority because, oh, you got 2,000 subscribers to your YouTube channel. People are going to say, oh, well, he must be dropping knowledge. We're going to, subscribe to his channel so we can see more content. And that may not always correlate. Now when you're dropping content, there's people that don't even care about your stuff, maybe seeing your stuff.
Hmm.
So, similar to what you said, where you're like, well, hey, would you rather the likes and engagements, etc.? Yes, that's the direction you definitely want to go. And in order to go in that direction, you want to, anytime somebody comments on your post, you want to follow up with a comment, of some sort. And the reason why you want to do that is because it's helping the algorithm get more
Yep.
reach because they're starting to see more engagement on your post. And then as people that's just watching you, maybe they don't want to respond now that they've seen your post because, oh, snap, you got 20 likes and now it made it to their board. They may say, oh, this post is really interesting. I'm not going to comment, I'm going to share. And hey,
Yep.
that share gets more engagement,
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's a science behind it, but it's a lot of details that, you don't want to be too boggled down with.
No, I can just see like I'm getting overwhelmed just having this conversation right now, like let alone, a moving company in seat, you got an owner that's wearing a million different hats, like he's got to watch the crews of this, the financials, and then it's all of a sudden, oh my gosh, now I got to be a marketing guy as well. It's tough. No, so leverage help, leverage the programs. Like I said, Matt, Dwight's got a program coming out here. Super excited to see how many nuggets I can pull out of that and use personally. And yeah, I mean, it's okay to reach out for help, man. That's all.
Yeah.
Because it can be over. So, like I said, I get overwhelmed with just the conversation around marketing. It's like, whoa, But again, I'm blessed to have a freaking incredible team, so I don't
Mhm.
have to worry about it as much as others do. But yeah, I can only imagine being back in seat. And when I was in the moving company, that was one of my gigs. Is hey, we got to increase our social. We got to this. We got to that. So I was tasked with almost like kind of creating our whole social, marketing plan. And I was just like, where do you start? And then once you start, how do you get rolling? And then once you get rolling, how do you stay consistent? And how do you have great messaging? How are you getting, but it can be a lot, man.
Yeah,
But
and I
it's
and I wish I
start
had
simple.
somebody. I wish I had somebody around that could help me with the marketing when I first started my company in 2014. Now, granted, I met Louis Mazzaro around 16, which kind of gave me the operational tips and some sales knowledge. But it was just like, geez, how expensive that was at around that time, and it was just like, will it work?
Yeah.
And then I
Well, you
was
got you,
asked.
you got to track it. And that's the other
Mhm,
thing too. It's like it's one thing to just do it, but you better track it. Is the juice worth the squeeze? Based on how you're setting yourself up. So
mhm.
tacking on some metrics along with that, not just slapping a post out there, but having some clear and concise metrics or KPIs to take a peek at while you're doing this process to me is going to be critical, especially if you're spending money, thousands of dollars, even hundreds of dollars. I mean, shoot, $100 is $100, right?
Yeah. And knowing where your business is going is key. Like if you don't know where you want your business to go in the future, what's the point?
I think
Obviously
timing too, right? Like during peak season, should you be marketing household business? Should you be setting that up, or should you be marketing something with the next line of business that's coming through? I mean, so I feel like, there's
in
a,
peak season.
well, yeah, I mean, peak season, like for us, like I knew there was a lot of companies in our area that were marketing the snot during peak season. Like, hey, household, we do this, we do, and it's like, you can't handle anymore. So to me, it was kind of a waste of spend.
Hmm.
Um, be marketing in a line where business is coming in kind of through your ears, through the walls, and what have you. But you're putting spend towards that, getting even more leads that you can't handle, even if you were to close all them. Um, so to me, every line of business in the moving thing has their Christmas season, sort of say.
Hmm.
So household has that 120 days of peak, commercial work when it comes to dorm room movers or not dorm room movers, but college and university work. Like you got to market to those guys, um, beginning of the year while the kids are in school. So when the kids are out of school, you can basically now go ahead and grab that work. But to me, there's different seasons of not necessarily marketing, but different seasons of different lines of business that need to be marketed at a correct time.
Yeah, I would say All right. So maybe in the winter months, go transition into the summer months. Prime example, you spend $400 on on a particular lead provider. Comes peak season, you cut that down to $200 because you know one that your leads are going to be you're going to be flying through your leads come summertime anyways because everybody's looking for moving. So instead of knowingly spending $400, you just lower it down to $200 and you spend as needed and you get customers because again, a lot of customers, if you build your brand, it's going to be a lot of organic repeat customers. You know, where whatever your marketing channels are, customers are going to be coming in from that, and you don't need to spend as much money in the summertime because they're going to be moving anyways. But similar to what Ryan was saying is that like if you are going into the fall, you can start to leverage either whether it's cleaning services, junk removal. You know, I started marketing for snow removal when we got into the fall for the winter months. So you could kind of start slowly pushing those out. And as the season gets closer and closer, that marketing becomes more and more effective and kind of go from there. But again, yeah, definitely cut it down. Don't cut it away, you know, because you still want to let people know that you're relevant and you're a moving company.
Yeah, and then the other thing, I mean, you got B2B and B2C, right? So business to business marketing and then business to the consumer or customer type marketing. And there's particular channels that work better for each of those on there. So to me, if like I'm trying to market to a business or, like if I want to do a whole bunch of hotel work, right? And I want to market to a business, am I probably going to do that on Facebook? No, to me, that's more of kind of a LinkedIn side of the house when it comes to marketing or what have you, that type crowd. But if I'm going to the consumer, it's probably going to be towards the Facebook, the Instagrams, and all that stuff. So just another layer of, oh my gosh, what do I do? Basically.
So, what do you think about divisions within the moving company? So, like having a house cleaning division, having a commercial division, having, residential.
Yeah, no, we had that, right? So we had an international side of that. And I don't want to say divisions. We just had, cross-trained team members, right? So we had crews that did better on commercial, and then we had crews that were more kind of household, but we did have crew members that could blend and go from household to commercial, or commercial to household, and what have you. Same thing with international. We always had specialists on the job, right? So you can't take a normal house. Well, I guess you can, but just take a standard labor and put them on a big international job. Do they know what they can take? Do they know what they can pack? Do they know that how they have to wrap it? Do they know how things need to be inventoried a little bit differently than a household side of the move? We also had a fine arts division, right? So the last thing you want to do is take a general labor and put him over on the fine arts side of the house handling a $43 million painting. They're handled totally differently, than
Hmm.
a $30 painting that comes from Bonton. Bonton. Is that even a store? Bonton. Where did they get that name from? Is that even a store? I don't know where I
I
was
don't
thinking of
think
like
so.
I don't know where Bonton came from, but I'm thinking like Burlington maybe. I don't know. You get them little, canvases and things like that.
Hmm.
But no, I like the divisional piece, but I also feel that like, unless you can support a team and have multiple folks like that, I mean, I think people should be kind of cross trained and blended throughout.
Yeah,
Right. All
no,
like
that
other places have the, commercial division, a household division, a spec com division, um, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
when would you think is a good time to like really break your company up, like admin wise, into like it's in each division to focus on really growing that division?
Good time? Well, I think, oh, well, that's a great question. So I'm not sure how to answer that one at the moment, sort of say. But I think obviously anything, you're not just going to start a commercial division, like, okay, hey guys, we're doing commercial next week, so I'm going to go hire a whole commercial division. I think you start, jumping into commercial with like digestible chunks, start doing some final mile runs, um, start doing a couple milk runs or something like that. I mean, you just don't go from not doing commercial to jumping into full-fledged FF&E, 300,000 pound hotel job because you're going to set
Mhm.
yourself up for failure.
Mhm.
Um,
So we got
so
a we got a question from Sean. What's your approach for postcard marketing? Oh, good question. So pretty
huge
much,
fan.
pretty much, postcard marketing, one, get with a good company. Again, I recommend USA Home Listings. They've always done right, and they do a lot of turnkey stuff as well, So hey, they can create the postcard for you. They can get it out and go for you. You just pay them a set amount. I've seen prices in the range of 97 cents for per postcard that's going out or whatever the case is. And now postage is now going up, so obviously that's going to go up a little bit. But knowing what size postcard to use is also a key metric. Because if you use a 5 by 6 postcard or whatever the case is, somebody's just going to think that's toilet tissue and throw it in the garbage when they see it. But if you use a 6 by 11 type of postcard where it's just like, God damn, it's in my face. All right. Then they're going to probably be more prone to look at it and say, oh, it's a moving company. Oh, snap. We are planning on moving, because the whole goal is to get in front of their face at the time that they're probably needing your services.
Yeah.
Another good thing to use, if you don't use like regular postcards sending out to new listings, is get affiliated with US Postal Services. Anytime somebody moves, do you not realize that like when you do a change of address, they send you postcards in that change of address? And it's like local businesses that could possibly get your house spruced up or whatever the case is. You can be on that postcard and just pop in somebody's house or whatever the case is when they do a change of address. And they're probably doing a change of address likelihood before they move, or if they did it after they move, you could probably then post a service that will work after they move, such as cleaning services like move-in cleans or junk removal or whatever the case is if they're hoarders. But basically get in front of them. And in the marketing training that we go over, we talk about EDM, which is every door direct door marketing or something like that. And it talks about how you can just market to a regional area in your local market and say, hey, I was in the capital region. So if I wanted to send postcards to all of North Albany, I could just go to the post office and say, hey, send it to North Albany. I don't need addresses. I just need to tell them, hey, send it to this region, and I'll pay per postcard, and they'll send all of my postcards to that region. And hey, I can see if it's going to yield me a great return, or if it doesn't yield me a great return, I move away from that region and go to another region. But you gotta know your radius, because if you're just saying, hey, I service a 100-mile radius, and you're trying to market to a 100-mile radius, that's a lot of marketing spend, and your acquisition cost is going to be very high.
Yeah, no, I love the question Sean posed there. And again, kind of back to almost a divisional piece, right? So taking things in digestible chunks. What I did before I went out and hired and had somebody create postcards and do it on behalf of myself, I physically did it, and I did it for just the cost of the postcards and the stampage. So I had obviously a ton of friends in the real estate industry, a ton of partners. I always got the newest listings that came out, and I had them basically kind of bucket it for me. So I'm in the Elmira area, Binghamton, Syracuse, Ithaca, Rochester. So I would actually just kind of do not a search, but from $150,000 up to $2 million. Not many massive, crazy expensive homes in our area, right? So I find every home that had been just listed, copy and paste the address. I put it in my little Excel sheet, hit print, and obviously printed on these like stickers that had, current resident with their address. Now, what I did is I got creative with the actual postcard. I didn't use the standard 4x6, 4x8, whatever they are. My postcard was in the shape of a house, like a mini house. It was probably, actually, I have one here somewhere. I'll have to show you, but I'll find it by the next episode. It's, I don't know, maybe 5 inches wide, maybe 7 inches tall, but literally even the chimney stuck out a little bit. And it was on really, really awesome quality, like pearl type paper. And it had literally somebody holding a couple holding a box with their home inside of the box. And, hey, call here for free, no obligation estimate. Use code hashtag blah, blah, blah to get X. Now you don't have to offer discounts and things like that. And literally, I just print that sheet, stick them on the back, ship them in the mail, and it worked really, really well for us. Now, yes, it is a little bit time consuming doing it the manual way, but a great way if you just want to get into it and you don't have a big marketing budget is you can do that yourself. I just get really creative with the type of postcard that you have because everybody's getting, the mail. But if somebody, speaking of mail, if you get a bunch of these, a bunch of postcards, we'll say, in the mail, and you're going through, okay, junk, 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 but then somebody sends you a postcard shaped like this, you're
Nice.
like, oh, look at this. Like it just captures. So we found that worked really, probably a bad analogy there, but you kind of get what I'm saying. Just something that shows up in the mail. I mean, everybody knows what they get in the mail. Everybody knows what junk mail looks like. So how do you make your postcard not look like junk? If
Hmm.
that's working for you and you find out it's pretty time consuming, yes, a company like USA Home Listings. I even like the approach that Moving Letters AI are doing with the handwritten piece. I think is really kind of, I mean, how many handwritten cards do you get in the mail today, Dwight? Like,
Yeah, you're right.
no, every once in a while, like the local representative from Congress or something will have that fake, it looks like it's written, but it's not. And actually, I don't know if you do this, but I'm like, did he really write this? So I'm like, lick my finger. I'm like, this is printed. If that was a big pen, it would go ahead and it'd spill out a little bit. But I think even keeping that simple and dialing in the range, having those postcards and printing out some tabs and lick them, stick them, and go. And that works. Like that method worked for us. And it only took, if I sent out a batch of 100 postcards, it only takes one. It only takes one to get your basically your spend back.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, just dial it in, keep it tight. But no, I love the question, Sean. Pose that.
Definitely. So, all right, everybody. So we cut it a little short today. I hope we were able to address your questions. We're going to be here. We're going to be back next week. So definitely tune in. Bring your questions. There's no topic off limits. Long as it's around moving, you know. And we'll see you then. Keep turning up. Keep killing it this season. We got about another month, maybe month and a half to go before we really start to see that slowness kick in the cold weather. If you're up north. For you
Hmm.
South people, I despise you. But if you up north, so keep crushing it. All right, y'all. Yeah, take care.